Welcome to the Making Sense of Money podcast, brought to you by P1FCU, where we talk about the financial topics that matter the most to you. I'm your host, Danielle, and today we're talking with Ashley James from LC State. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
So I would just love to hear more about what early college is, just all things that you can share with us.
Sure.
Really just great.
Okay. So early college programs is dual credit, essentially. So It is high school students earning college credit while also earning high school credit. That could be either electives or graduation requirements or anything along those lines. But they're also earning credits through a college that may be applicable to maybe a career, a certificate, a degree, but we want it to be for something. So that's what we help the students get through the program.
Okay, that's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So how many students roughly are utilizing this resource right now?
Oh, goodness. I mean, statewide, I wouldn't know the answer to that offhand. Every year, the students that are enrolling through LC is growing. So this year, we have record numbers again. I want to say that we were just under 2,000 students for this past school year.
Wow.
We just got our numbers. I think March 15th is when they ran their numbers or so.
Okay.
And that's when we realized exactly how much we had increased our numbers this year compared to last year. And so every year more students are taking advantage of these opportunities.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
What is something that you wish all students and parents knew about dual credit?
Honestly, I just wish that more people knew about it in general.
Okay.
I think a lot of students have heard about it because a lot of our schools offer opportunities, but I think a lot of times parents aren't also informed or properly informed of the potential opportunities that students have through their schools. Even with my own child, who is a high school student, I know about dual credit because it's what I do, but they come home with these slips of paper and they have all of these classes that they have to choose from, and you don't really get any of that explained to you as a parent a lot.
Okay.
And so that's one thing that I've definitely noticed, that it seems like we try to talk to the parents, and, we go out, and when I say we, I mean like me or our department, and we try to educate, when we can, or do presentations. But I think a lot of parents don't get that information.
Okay.
They don't realize that these are opportunities that their students even have available to them, even within their own schools that they're attending.
Okay.
So I think that if there was something that I could do, it would probably be that in some way. Yeah.
Okay. How do parents find out more?
Usually through the school.
Okay.
Usually it's after the student has already signed up to take a class.
Oh, and then
the student will come home with this form and this information about dual credit. And that's when they're like, wait, what? Or word of mouth, from other parents or friends or things like that. And, we have some homeschool co-ops in the area that once one homeschooling family finds out about dual credit, then they spread the word, and then, the entire co-op wants to be involved, that type of a thing. So a lot of it is word of mouth, but then the other thing would be generally just that first, the student signed up for Chem 100 or, something at LHS, and they come home with a registration form, and then the parent is reaching out saying, can I get some more information?
Well, because there's probably, I'm going to guess that there's also a bill attached.
So no.
Oh, okay.
So with the state of Idaho, there is a program that's called Advanced Opportunities. And so what that is the state of Idaho sets aside $4,625 for every public school student.
Okay.
And that can be used for dual credit expenses.
Wow.
So what we do, generally, as a college student, you go to classes, you sign up, whether it's part-time or full-time, there's always a tuition rate. The tuition rate for a full-time student to go to LC right now is just under $4,000 just for one semester. Dual credit students, they only have to pay $75 per credit.
Oh my gosh.
And the state will cover that $75 per credit through Advanced Opportunities.
So it's free.
So it's free.
Oh my gosh.
The caveat to that is we do offer our entire catalog to our dual credit students. So there's different ways that dual credit students can take these classes. They can take it in their high school if their school has approved teachers that are to be approved teacher, you have to have a certain amount of education. So whether that is a master's degree or a PhD or working on, a higher degree above a bachelor's degree, every department has different credentials to approve a teacher to be able to teach at like the college level for that material. But if that school has an approved teacher, we might offer classes at their high school. But then there's also IDLA that students can take classes through for college credit, or they can take it directly through the college. And with LC, we don't change the tuition rate for any of those modalities. So it's always the $75 per credit. So the state is covering their tuition cost. But if they take it directly through the college, they would have like a technology course fee, which is $5 per credit if they're taking the class in person.
Got it.
So it's like English 101 is a 3-credit class.
Okay.
They're taking it in person. That's $15 out of pocket.
My gosh.
Yeah. And then if there's a textbook, the state doesn't cover any textbook costs. So depending on the class that they take, they might not even have a textbook, or maybe they're taking Chem 111 and they're going to have, a science textbook and a lab book that's a little bit more expensive. So but it's still taking that tuition part out of it, and the state covers that. Yes, 100%.
So worst case, you have to buy a book, which they are expensive books, but
they can be. Yeah.
But again,
and there's so many of those thrift or like used textbook places that you can buy textbooks online. That even the expensive ones, a lot of times, if you go and search some of those sites or providers, that even though it might be $200 and some odd brand new, you might end up getting a used one for like $30.
Yeah.
So it depends on the class. It depends on the textbook, how new it is. There's a lot of different factors that go into it.
For sure.
But just taking that tuition piece out of it is huge.
Yeah.
Because even if a student is able to take, even if it's one class, I mean, that's still a ton of money that they're saving. The part-time tuition fee is, now I'm trying to think of what it is off the top of my head. I want to say it's just under $400 or right around that for a part-time college student tuition rate per credit. Dual credit, you're paying $75.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's a huge money-saving opportunity when you look at it at that perspective through that lens. But also just for the students, if they can get one class, 5 classes. Some students are graduating with their associate's degree. It's not something that's right for every single student.
Yeah.
Not all students are ready for that academically, mentally, time management. There's so many aspects that go into it. And a lot of students that do get these associate's degrees give up a lot to be able to do that. But sometimes that's what their goal is. That's what they want to do. And if that's something that they want to do, advanced opportunities with that $4,625, that number came from, or it calculates out to be what it costs for an associate's degree.
Yeah.
So that's where that number comes from.
Okay. Oh, that's so cool. I do hear from time to time, students that are, as we talked about earlier, they're graduating high school and then they're also gaining their associate's degree at that same time. That is just such a huge jumpstart into, getting the bachelor's, or maybe they don't want a bachelor's and they're going to go, work right out after that. I mean, it depends on the student,
100%.
what their goals are, like you said, but that is just very cool to hear.
And we've had some students that, maybe they don't even get their associate's degree, but they get all of their prereqs done and their support classes to be able to apply right into the nursing program the same semester that they graduate from high school, which usually you can't do that,
Yeah.
I mean, and some students do. I've had, especially, I'm thinking of one homeschool student in particular that was her end goal. Like, she wanted to get her associate's degree because she had a longtime boyfriend, and her plan was to get married and have a job and, start a family. And this was one of her precursors of like, I have to get this done, and then I go on to the next chapter of my life. And so, we can help them get to that point. So whether that's their end point for now, or if it's the stepping stone of like, now I have just 2 years to finish my bachelor's degree, or now I can get into the program of teaching or nursing or automotive or mechanics or, whatever that is, we can help them get to that point while they're still in high school so they can just slide right into that as a college student.
Wow, that is huge. That's a huge just asset to the community and the students. So how a student can, earn their associates. So how many classes roughly are offered? Like all different subjects?
Since we open our entire catalog to our dual credit students, any class that's offered through LC if they don't offer it at their high school or through IDLA, they can take it on campus.
Wow. Everything.
So,
everything.
Yeah. I mean, as long as, there are some, asterisks to that.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them have age restrictions or
Okay.
the prereqs done, things like that. But for the most part, yeah, as long as if there are, and you don't even necessarily have to be a high achieving student. It's mostly we need to make sure that the students are academically prepared.
Okay.
Because we've even come across, we all know students. We've all probably had, whether it's our own kids or siblings or somebody that we knew as we were students ourselves. Sometimes even students that seem to be low achieving students are doing it out of boredom.
Okay.
And so they need that challenge. So it's not necessarily about only high achieving students can do this type of a thing, because we have had students that might be a little bit rocky on their high school GPA, and then they start taking college level classes, and then they just excel and they blossom, and they like that freedom, and they like that. It is a very different environment being a college student as opposed to being in the high school. And sometimes that's just what a student needs.
Okay. So they might need a different environment, different challenges. How rewarding to get to see different students take their different paths.
Oh, yeah. And I'm there when they take classes, especially directly through the college, but even at the high schools when I can be there, or if they have questions, I'm their advisor through the college for any dual credit students. So, and there's a lot of students that I am their primary advisor, especially if they are on campus and taking, some students are full-time college students, but through dual credit.
Wow.
So they don't even step foot into their high school.
Ever?
Like for that year.
Wow.
And so in those instances, they still have their high school counselors and they still have that high school support for when they need it or want to use it. But I'm also their primary, person that they come to, or that answers their questions or helps make their plans of their course plans or their schedules. And, and then I work with the high school to make sure that whatever we're planning, we're still on track for their high school graduation requirements. And so there is a lot of collaboration involved, but especially that financial piece, and with advanced opportunities, being a program that Idaho offers, it's huge.
That is amazing, truly. So with the student requirements, who can participate in the dual credit program?
So our minimum requirements, at least through the college, is the student has to at least be 14, and they should have at least half of their graduation requirements, high school graduation requirements completed.
Okay.
That's just to make sure that we don't have, 14, that's probably a ninth grader, like they're just entering high school, they're not academically ready for a college level class. These are college level classes. So whether it's at their high school or through IDLA or on campus, the classes that are being taught in the high school, those teachers that are approved to teach for college level credit, their curriculum has to have the same learning objectives that the class is being taught on campus.
Okay.
They are college level classes.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure that the students that are taking advantage of these classes and taking advantage of these opportunities are academically ready.
Okay.
So technically they only have to be 14.
Okay.
They should have at least half their high school graduation requirements.
Okay.
But the biggest thing is just making sure that they're ready for it. So.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then once they earn these credits, do they can they only use them in Idaho schools? How does the transfer...
It gets a little bit sticky.
Yeah.
So any of the, state colleges or universities, 4-year, 2-year, whatever, if it's in the state of Idaho, the core classes, if it's accepted as a core class with us, it should be accepted as a core class with any of those other ones. It gets a little bit more sticky when we're talking about private schools because they work under different guidelines.
Yeah.
And then sometimes different states have different things outlined as requirements.
Okay.
But definitely within the state of Idaho, if maybe they're taking English 101 through LCSC, but they're thinking about going to BSU, they shouldn't have any concerns about that transferring and how that's going to transfer. When they are thinking about going out of state or maybe to that private college or things like that, we do have tools and like transfer history that we can look up and see how when we sent classes to be transcribed at XYZ school, how was it accepted? How did they transcribe it? So we can kind of use that as a tool to help guide us in a way, to where if they ever have those questions, they can come to their counselor. The counselor knows how to use those resources. They can come to our department. There's also a tool on Next Steps Idaho that they can actually go in there and check there as well. So different ways.
Yeah, multiple options. So Next Steps Idaho, is that where people should go to get started, or what do you recommend if someone's, interested and not sure how to just go for it?
I would definitely recommend talking to their high school first. So their counselor or their college and career readiness advisor, if they have one, that's going to be probably their number one, their first step, because they might even have dual credit classes that they offer there at their high school that they don't even realize are there for college credit.
Yeah.
A lot of classes that are offered in their high school, we also extend those classes out. A class on campus is a 16-week class.
Okay.
So, classes started in August. They're going to end in December. That's the class. If a class is being taught in a high school, a lot of times what we do is we actually extend that 16 weeks out for their entire school year.
Oh, okay.
So they're still getting all the same learning objectives, but it's not as condensed. So it's a lot more digestible, especially for a high school student if they've never taken dual credit before.
Okay.
So it gives them more opportunity, more time with the teacher, more time with the material, more time to be successful and really understand what they're learning.
Yeah.
When they also take classes through their high school, they get extended deadlines. So like they get an extended drop deadline or extended withdraw deadline.
Okay. Which is important
especially for high school students.
Yeah.
Everybody can go into something with the best intentions and everything can go right off the tracks very easily.
Yes.
Especially with high school students, they're already dealing with so much, and they have, whether it's sports or clubs or boyfriends and girlfriends and navigating, adolescence.
Life.
That we do have those kind of as, I don't want to say a perk, but it's definitely something that is a perk for dual credit students as they're starting to explore and potentially take these classes for college credit, to where we don't want it to be a negative experience for them, because when you take college classes, it's a very real adult thing to be doing.
Yes.
You're creating official college transcripts. Official college transcripts don't expire. They're going to follow them through adulthood. We want to make sure that it's a positive experience and it doesn't create, negative implications such as, financial aid issues or acceptability issues, down the road when they try to go to college.
You really want to set them up for success long term.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Well, I can tell you're really passionate about what you do. I can just tell. So what is something that you really want people to know about dual credit?
Honestly, just knowing that it's there and knowing that that the opportunities exist, I think that's the biggest thing. Because there's such a wide range of opportunities just within dual credit, it really doesn't matter. Maybe that student wants to go into welding. Maybe that student wants to be a nurse. Maybe they want to be a teacher. Maybe they're just thinking about getting a certificate. Maybe they want to do something that's offered through workforce training.
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities that I think a lot of people don't realize are there for our high school populations, especially students that are interested in, making progress towards something while they're still a high school student.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, well, in closing, we have this question we ask all of our guests here, and it is, what is one thing you wished that you knew about money sooner in life? Oh, it's a big question.
Well, I guess I'll keep it on topic and in relation to college and, dual credit.
Yeah.
Honestly, scholarships.
Okay.
And the importance of taking advantage of other opportunities other than student loans.
Yes. Because there's so many options and resources.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's a very good one.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you taking your time and just sharing this wealth of knowledge that you have with us. It's been very helpful.
No problem.
So hopefully many parents and students feel the same way.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Thank you all for tuning in today. We hope you are one step closer to making sense of money. Don't forget to check out our newsletter and subscribe at ponfcu.org. We'll see you next time.